I but I think that it would be good to maybe start with a little highlight recap from SummerSlam, maybe just a connection that you made with somebody or something that you picked up that you just want to share. So I'll kind of start with that, and then like I said, I have a few things to talk about, but let's just kind of start with a little round table from what you guys may have picked up from SummerSlam, what you're taking. Business. Got really muted, so I guess you'll start.
What did you say?
Just to kind of talk about one of the things or anything that you picked up from SummerSlam that you're going to take into just whatever's on your heart from SummerSlam, really.
I enjoyed being around everybody. It had been a while to see everyone. So just a lot of motivation there.
Was there something like a tip you picked up that you're planning on taking into and practicing into your business?
There were several. I don't have them all documented in my mind.
That's okay. I know I asked you to go first, so it's okay. Anyone else want to speak up about something that they brought back from SummerSlam? Maybe to encourage the people that, or just talk about what you got to maybe let other people know what something they missed if they weren't there.
Hey, Beverly, I heard you talk about annuities and IULs and really wanting to get in on that.
Yes, I did. That was what I picked up on some of that. Where children could earn money, I want to apply that and get to know that better.
That's good. That was we talked a lot about advanced market.
Yes.
Meaning like IULs, annuities, stuff like that. And I've personally always, like, I love the advanced market sales. Personally, it's like probably one of my favorite parts is being able to help people with that type of stuff. But just keep in mind, the bread and butter of our business is really life insurance and final expense, mortgage protection and final expense. You kind of have to balance the two to have profitable and sustainable long-term business. And then you throw in the other stuff here and there with your current clients, or if you're purchasing leads for advanced markets, that's a different story too. But yeah, we talked a lot about that. So that was good stuff for sure. Brandon Beal and Ari Cheney and all those guys.
Being bombarded repeatedly. Ukraine's army says it is slowing down the Russians using heavy weapons supplied by the U.S. and other Western allies.
Anyone else have anything they want to chime in about SummerSlam? Hey, Jeff.
Good morning, Megan.
Good morning.
You know what I always get reminded of when I go to these events is, and I thought this one was very good in that we had a lot of people that been successful that haven't been there very long. And so sometimes it's just good to go to be reminded of things like that, because that's exactly what I thought when I first. It's good to see other people succeeding, and then, you know, say to yourself, well, gosh, if they can do it, I can too.
True.
I thought it was really one of the better events that we've had. I really like the Fitz events. They're a lot closer, a lot more intimate. It's always great to see everybody, but yeah, just getting to be able to see the success that people are having and the fun they're having doing it. is always a great motivation.
Yeah, I remember after we were done, I got together with Savannah and Heather and Tiffany. We just sat around the table actually running IUL illustrations so I could show them how they're actually ran. And, I was telling them, and the people that have been around here for 3 years, since basically BC before COVID, you guys remember. You guys remember the weekly meetings we used to do and how we used to talk about like either the meeting needs you or you need the meeting. Like sometimes we walk into an event or to even just a meeting like this, and I'm not saying that you're always going to hear that life-changing tip. You know what I mean? Like it's mostly about the consistency. And what I mean by like either you need the meeting or the meeting needs you, either you needed to show up that week for yourself to get some like extra belief that, hey, maybe I was beat down this week by some clients, or maybe I didn't achieve what I was intending to achieve, but I got motivated by people that were out there and that did achieve that this week just by being around and seeing that. And like, that's just like unspoken, obviously I'm speaking it now, but it's just like this unspoken power that happens with gathering, right? Like it's always better if it's in person, but even these gatherings are extremely important to our week to week, day to day success. Because like you said, Jeff, it's like, it's so motivating just to get around and be like, dang, that person wrote that person did that. Shoot.
Well, at the day, okay, since this is a business meeting, and most of us are here to make money, we want other things too. But if after you attend an event, if you come back and you make more money than you did before you went to the event, then I'd say the event was a success. If you're excited to go to work, if you're, motivated. I mean, look, the bottom line is that if you do the activity, you're going to make the money in this business. That's all there is to it. So,
period. Exclamation point.
Just if it's something that makes you, oh yeah, I forgot, and I forgot I enjoyed doing that. If it makes you want to get up and get out there, then the meeting was a success. But I mean, look, I look forward. Usually Alliance events are fun, but I like them even better. The FITS events, guys, it helps too. If you've done a couple trips around the world that were free, that were first class with a whole bunch of these people. And I like getting to see, my friends and Joe and Tawny and people from far parts of the country that we normally see them at these events and on the trips. So
right.
Work hard to get to these trips.
Yeah. And isn't there it's not the relationships are probably like the coolest thing. Like overall, at the end of the day, we're not going to look back and wish we would have worked one extra day. We're going to like on our deathbed, we're going to look back and think about like those important relationships that we had. And I just think about like, it's about the relationships really, but more like when you think about your business and how the relationships affect your business, like how valuable is Joe Walker, for example, like somebody who can just sit there and be such a powerhouse in the IUL and annuity field, but also be such a genuine, loving, giving, inspirational person that like is willing to help. I don't want to start naming names because I could just go on and on about the people in the FITS group really, but there's so much knowledge because we've been around this industry for so long, just in our core group, that there's not much else you need to do outside, like to get the knowledge. Obviously you need to be a student of your business, meaning you need to study your products. You need to learn how to get better at closing with clients. You need to get better at learning how to communicate with people so that you can effectively communicate the problem and the solution with the client. But more importantly, who are you going to call when you need help with a certain thing? It's like those relationships aren't built overnight. And that's one of like what you were saying, Jeff. getting around to an event or working really hard to get to one of the trips, it's just invaluable. It goes such a long way for me. I can only speak for my personal experience, but it's gone such a long way for my personal growth, for my money management skills personally, for being able to understand how to help my clients and with better products as I get better. Like there's so many compounding effects that come with it. And I was just reminded of that this last week, thinking it's never convenient. Like it's never convenient.
No, it's not.
And I don't know that it ever, like great things in your life will never be convenient. And I think that that's just something we need to accept and do anyway. Like we know, it's like knowing the principles. Like I ran into somebody, old friend yesterday, and we were catching up, and this is totally a different subject, but kind of speaks to what I'm trying to say just about principle. I had some friends that bought a house together that weren't married yet. They'd been together 7 years, never thought they were going to break up. Right. But then they weren't married, bought a house together, and they did break up after 7 years. And now they're dealing with that. And it's like, well, that's why the principle is there. Right. Like, I'm not saying I don't have opinions on that either way, but I'm just saying, like, that's why that principle is there. Like, to not do that until there's that commitment. Like, that's why the principle is show up. Like, just show up. Because you're going to take something away. And we can go in depth about products, and we can start going in depth about leads if that's what you guys want to do. But more importantly, I want you to show up for yourself, not even for us, just like show up for you, because you deserve that success, number one, and you can't get it by yourself. You could. It's going to be a lot harder.
Megan, if you really wanted specific training, we literally had like a panel of people, and any objection you could think of, you got to hear what, top earners, here's what they say, word for word. So we've got all that. Products, the whole thing about products is if you want to learn a product, just go sell one. You know enough about it from reading a brochure or doing our little training that you can go sell that product. You want to learn all the details, go sell one of them. I learned that from, Mike after my second appointment, because he's like, you think you got to learn all these different applications, he's like, oh my gosh, I got to be familiar with it. But do you really? Because it's name, it's phone number, it's questions that you answer yes or no. Sometimes there's some little things here and there on some apps, and that's why we have the team to help to answer them. But right. I promise you, once you've had to do one of them for real, that one now. And then you can sell more of it and everything else. So we had the specifics. If you wanted to know, about, I think new people are always like, what do I say? It's always about products and leads and overcoming objections. For the people who've done it for a little while, it's more big picture. It's right. Why are we doing this? What are the tricks you're doing? What are other people doing? And
repetition, like you were just mentioning, like the repetition is what's going to stick. And so like even just repetition, meaning showing up to the meetings, meaning booking more appointments than you ever have, meaning messing up and just continuing to listen and do that. Repetition creates stickiness so that you can genuinely move forward and really know what you're doing. But it just doesn't happen overnight. I think I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and they were talking about we were talking to Jonathan's brother, who's a registered nurse. And he was telling us about how there's this, when you become a registered nurse, you don't just go, like, even though you take 2 years of school and you go through the training and you have your rotations and you learn all of that, you still go into being a nurse when you're in day one on the job. You don't know what you're doing yet. They actually tier you as like still somebody who isn't like, even though you have the registered nurse next to your name, you're still not really prepared. That's why they have a 2-year contract most of the time for new nurses coming in, so that you can give yourself enough time to become a great nurse. And you show up day one and it feels chaotic, because even though that you've been in the patient's room before and you know what's going, and you know the body, you know the anatomy of a human body, it doesn't mean that you know how to practice it yet. So it's that daily repetition of them coming in, being around other people who are doing it as well, and then sitting with patients and sitting with patients and sitting with patients and learning. And actually, they don't even really consider you like ready to be on your own until you're even a year in, is what he was telling us. And that just kind of reaffirmed, like, don't stress. If you're new, like, don't stress about that. Like,
Isn't it great? We have to have a year of practice so we can start making money.
What'd you say?
Isn't it great? We don't need a year of practice before we can start making money.
That's what's so amazing about this industry and this business, is like, you don't have to go to school for 10 years and you don't have to be in residency for 3 years. Like, you just got to have a heart to serve people. You need a good attitude. You need not even good leads. You just need leads. And you need to have willingness to work. And if you've got those things, like, you're unstoppable. You can literally go out tomorrow and make $5,000 if you want to. You just have to decide that I'm going to get through the shit that gets me to that, period. Because guaranteed, there's some shit you're going to walk through to get to it, because it's going to be uncomfortable.
You know what? Really, now that I sit here and think about it, because I don't have my notes in front of me, but one of the things that popped into my mind from this meeting was just how much money we can make. And, I mean, because I remember the days where it's like you leave an appointment going, man, I just made $6,000, in this one house. And it's like my 4th appointment today, to have those days. And really, they're days that they'll come on a regular basis if you just go and do the work.
I noticed that Savannah, when she got back from SummerSlam, she mentioned on 411, if you guys were watching Slack, that she got back and she had been trying to get in touch with one of these clients for months or weeks or something, and try to book another appointment. And she booked another appointment for today with that client. So persistence is so key too. Like, I know that feels uncomfortable, but persistence, man, like, somebody else is going to drop the ball. And it could be you if you don't persist as well. Go ahead, Mom.
And Megan, I don't know if many people know this story, but I just remember my first weekend out, my first real weekend out. I drove 5 hours. I bought 30 leads. I set 17 appointments. I wrote 14 applications for over $15,000. That's the activity. And I called my manager in every single home. And that's how I got started. Talk about building your confidence. Activity will build your confidence. So go knock doors, go call your leads, set your appointments. Your appointments are your pivotal thing for every single week. And I don't know if many people know that story, but that was my, I did run a couple of appointments in Houston before I went out of town, and I didn't make a sale. I ran like 4 appointments and I got thrown out of homes and bad things happened to me. But I went away for 3 days and I made a ton of money.
Yep. Anyone else want to share what they took away, or is something that's on your heart?
Just to clarify, you just got told no. Those are the bad things that happened to you. Right, Michelle?
Yes.
Just to clarify.
Actually, I I got told no. I got thrown out of the home because the wife was there and the husband was an attorney and he didn't know I was coming and I didn't know what I was doing. So yeah, I just got told no. I just left home.
I was clarifying. Because
Yeah, no bad things happen.
Right, because really, like, I think so. Like, the human condition is none of us like rejection, right? But rejection really is just a myth. It doesn't really exist, right? Like, if you want coffee, and I go to Starbucks and I say, "Hey, I want coffee," and they're like, "We don't have any." Well, I'm still left without a cup of coffee that I wanted, right? Nothing actually changed. I just need to go to the next store to get coffee. Does that make sense? So I just want to clarify that, like, sometimes we make a no bigger than it needs to be. When in reality, we just need to keep moving. So.
I think everybody on this call, like, knows that. Like, I think everybody that showed up today, I don't think that we're preaching to the choir here. Like, I know that all of you guys are aware and very confident in yourself, number one, and then you just know that that's a part of the game. But it's just a good reminder to hear that we all get it, and it's just not a big deal. And it's just the more important thing is to remember we are in an incredible industry with incredible people, and we just have to put our heads down and keep the main things in front of us. We can't grow without more bodies, more leads under management, and a good attitude. Like, those are the three things that we really need to continue to grow and to get bigger together. And so
we got to keep plowing the field.
Right. Exactly. We just got to keep
seeds.
Right. And not every seed is going to grow.
No.
And some seeds are going to grow into probably rotten, but that's okay too. Like, that's just a part of life, right?
Mm-hmm. True.
We can adjust our attitude. We can adjust our way of thinking. We can grow as people and get better. Like, that's the beauty of, even if we've had something bad happen, we have the choice to decide something different. And, it's like, even when you get a no, I remember we talked about this a lot when I had first started, was like, and Heather still talks about it, that one more concept. If you guys know who Ed Milet is, he talks about that one more concept. And like, I remember being out in the field and being told, having a day where it was just like no after no after no. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do one more. I have some people I can door knock. I have another appointment that I really don't want to show up to. And it's like an 8 p.m. appointment, but I just go because that's the principle. Like, you have to show up. That you were going to show up, you got to show up. And even on the days where, like, you get beat up, you have to try to push yourself to do one more. It's like, even in the gym, that one more concept of a rep. Like, you can
take the end from no and turn it to next and keep going.
That's great. Yeah. All right. Well, anybody else want to share something that they learned from SummerSlam or picked up or want to share with the team? I know a few others were there. If not, I got some more I gotta say. So, but I'll give you guys a second to unmute.
Hey, just one other comment real quick was the other thing that I really got reminded of is not to get too high or too low, when something good or bad happens in this business. And I think I tend to do that. It's easy to get discouraged. But like I said, because you can have a long day where it's like, man, no shows really can be frustrating. But if you play the whole game, just like basketball, you can be losing, your team can be losing the whole game, but bam, in the last seconds, you can come in and win. And then, you make it to that last appointment and, man, that just, you made more money than most people make in a week or a month by going to that last appointment. And it'd be easier if we could have just gone to that one, but it doesn't work like that, does it?
Yeah. If you would have just told me that was the one, that would have been the one I went to. Well, it is Monday morning, bright and early. We have the choice to decide how our week turns out this week. So decide that it's going to be a great one for you. Decide that first, and then let's put in the activity to do it. And from now until October 11th and 12th. So October 11th and 12th is going to be the Fall Fest. We're not intending to do quarterly events in person with the Fitz group. It's just that's just how it happened this time. So 90 days out from now, we are going to get back together in the same place, October 11th and 12th in Dallas. And let's see how much we can accomplish over the next 90 days. Like, let's just from week to week, try to improve ourselves one way or another. Even if it's just, I read 15 pages a day this week, like that's a huge win. And that's going to help you whether or not you believe that today. It will help you in the future. So let's just decide that we're going to make this week and this 90 days better than the last 90 days, and figure out how to get the activity in to do it. I have a few current client reviews that I'm doing later this morning that I'll put up on Zoom and the AG channel. If you guys want to listen to a current client review, you're welcome to jump on and listen to me. It is Monday though, so please take the time to keep yourself organized. If you submitted business this last week, make sure to go in and save those applications into Dropbox or Google Drive, whatever you use. And then also make sure to complete your transmittal, send that to your manager, and see you guys tomorrow morning on the sales call, 10 a.m. sharp. Y'all have a good week.
Thank you all.
Bye, everybody.
See you later.